everybody. Well, good morning if you're watching this live. So, although you didn't hear that if you're watching this live because I just went live. So, anyway, happy Christmas Eve, everybody. I am so excited. And I have to tell you, I'm super excited because I'm loving the process this year. I'm loving my book this year and the way it all turned out. So, yesterday I did day 21, which was Tuesday, and work day for me. So I just did a decoration from one of my clients that she does a live, will often do a live swag or something like that for me every year and decorates them differently. And I love it. So I wanted to make sure I highlighted that. This will be the layout for today. So I've got two new Christmas mugs. One of these I bought, and then the other one I just got this week. A client made this for me, and I love it as well. And then as I was just going through my cards, or not even going through my cards, but finishing up last night, I remembered that I had this kind of just list of things to do during or about Christmas. So I decided to just add that into this spread because there's not a lot that I need to say about the mugs and that kind of stuff. But I will definitely talk about how the importance of to me and that kind of stuff. So this was the shaker pocket. And as I was just putting stuff away last night, I remembered that something really important happened on Tuesday, and that's not documented here anywhere. And it's like a side story. So on Tuesday, we found out that my boyfriend had been exposed to COVID earlier that day, which then meant that I would not be able to see him just because I have to be really careful because I treat a lot of clients with very compromised immune systems, and I didn't want to expose them to COVID and possibly endanger myself. So he'll be getting a test on Monday to check out to see how he's doing. He's feeling really good, but I thought I really needed to document that story. So I made this card, and I didn't show you this process, but it was actually a pretty simple thing. I knew I had I have a folder of a few things for sickness, broken limbs, that kind of stuff from Ellie Studio. So this is an Ellie Studio card, obviously not very Christmassy with just what, as it is. And I don't think I can show you this because I think I've taped this pretty good. Yeah. But on the back was like stethoscopes and Band-Aids and that kind of stuff, which if I put this in, which is I decided to just add it into my book this way, it was not going to be very Christmassy. So I added a piece of paper to the back. So we'll talk about that in just a second. So all I did here is this was a 4x6 divided into what looked like 2 3x4s. I grabbed my green plaid washi tape. I found 2 stickers to put in the O's. Not that I love what happened or is what is happening right now because we can't be together for Christmas celebrations. But I love him and just a little Christmassy star there. So that's really all I did on the front of the card to make it more Christmassy and to fit in the book. And then wrote about what happened. And then on the back, I just took part of that Fa La La, a piece of paper, 6x8 paper from the Fa La La collection from last year. And I found a sticker that said, "We are counting down the days," which is true because we're counting down the days until he can test. So that would be 5 days from when this happened. So I just added a hashtag or number sign and a 5 to add on the back of the card. So that is just going to sit in here between these 2 days. So it really is part of this day, but not this story. So sometimes if you have a little extra story like that you want to add in, this is a great way to do it, is just put in some sort of card, You could put an extra page protector, but for me, there wasn't enough of a story here, so I just added the card in like that. So let's do today's layout. I'm going to put this aside and then grab this, which is today or yesterday's. So I want to look at that, or Tuesday's story, really. That always confuses me. How do I talk about that? It was yesterday's process. How about that? So yesterday's process and then today's. So I am, even though this is sitting in between them, I'm probably going to focus more on matching it to those colors, but I can also keep this up here as well. So right now, this looks pretty good the way it's sitting, but I do want to get in some sort of journaling. And because these are both so dark and this is so light, I'm thinking about a light card here. And let me show you kind of why I'm saying that if I can. So like here's a light card, obviously, and I could have used this one too now that I look at it, because I think it's pretty close to being what this is. But I do like the fact that this has a little bit of decoration. So that white balances nicely. Let me see if I can find one that's really dark here. So if you look at this, this one is really dark, no matter what color it is, whether it's green or red, whatever it is, it's very dark. And that then unbalances the layout because you have dark, 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 light. So even this is a little bit better because you have the, you know, it's a little bit more green. I'm going to keep this aside because that is a card that I can use for the 24th. So looking at what I could use here, I have that one, which would be pretty, you know, that's a pretty good option. Excuse me. This one again has too much darkness to it. I think I have, I know I do. Oh, here's the Merry Details. That would be kind of cute. But I think I have this card in red. I know I do. And I'm going to try that one just because I don't tend to like the white cards. They seem to, they're like, there's too much white on them for me a lot of times. So I still have these packs. These are a couple years old. So here's the red version of that. Hey, Janet. Yay. Awesome that you made it to Alive. So there's that one. And I think I'm just going to pull those out of that wrap now. So let me see which one I like better here. So the red or the green. And I'm thinking green. I think it's because of the dark writing here. It just feels a little bit closer to that. I don't know why that is, but it is. It is what it is, as they say. So then I need a number. This is number 22. And I'm wondering if I want to do something just a little bit smaller for my number today. I'm going to pull this out. There's a little tree on here. And that might be cute. Like in a corner here, kind of like that. There's also a little gray heart here. But maybe that could go down like in here somewhere. Did we talk? They didn't talk about candy canes on this one, but I do have these candy canes as well that I could use. Hey, Kristen. Oh, no, I'm so sorry. But that's awesome. I mean, awesome that you're saying that. Okay, so I think I like this candy cane because it's just a little more decorative. Pulls back in some of the red there. So that feels good. I think this is going to be another one that will be fairly quick. So sometimes when I try stuff out, I like to use the page protectors to do it. Oh, and this just came totally off. These, I'm finding that the chipboard this year, the backings peel off pretty easily, which that could signal something bad for later. when it falls off. Fortunately, we have ATG very close. Okay, so I think I'm going to just put it on here on this level here. So now I have two little chipboard pieces. I am going to pull these out because there might be something that I can put on here. And maybe the 22 goes up here. And I have candy cane striped. I have a candy cane striped alpha here. I'm gonna grab that. I also have this tiny little green one that could work. I'm looking for that, my Ellie Studio Alpha here. Here we go. Oh, no 22 though. Okay, so a couple of other choices here. A couple of other choices here. I'm laughing at myself, you guys. I did grab these because I could do the 22 up here. That's awesome. Kristen just said that she they finished early so she could hop on. So there's twos here. I also have twos in this alpha. I'm thinking we have 1, 2 in this. I'm thinking about keeping it more green. I also have twos in this alpha, which is kind of cute. It's a little polka dot one. Thinking that might be kind of fun. This morning, Kristen, I did not realize you were doing December daily videos. So obviously, you know, I watched one last night because I commented and left the comments. So I'm thinking I'm going to be doing some catching up on your videos this weekend. So that will be fun. Maybe we just pop this up a little bit further. There we go. Tarina, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right or not, but I do sometimes put the chipboard on the outside as well, and it keeps the cards from sliding around on the inside. But for some reason today I wanted to do it because with bulk like that, the cards can slide around. So this is kind of, I don't always do this. How about that? In this particular case, for some reason, I felt like put it on the inside today. But yeah, I oftentimes do put it out on the sleeve. So there's, I'm sure, well, yesterday's wood veneer's out on the sleeve. Okay, so there's that. So Jennifer just asked how my boyfriend's doing. I talked to him this morning. He's still feeling good. So if you guys missed it yesterday, he has a test on Monday. So that's a good thing. But unfortunately, that means we can't see each other till then. Although I shouldn't say see each other because I ran over yesterday and gave him some Christmas cookies because we live a building apart, which is a funny story. But anyway, so I grabbed him, gave him 3 freezer meals so that he would have some hot food to eat and a bunch of Christmas cookies. So far so good. This card here is, I started this pretty early. This card is from Tuesday, so it'll lay over the top of this in between these two, and it just tells a story of finding out that he had been exposed. So that was a story that didn't need to go on this page because it was prettier and nicer, but something important because all of a sudden he's not going to be in the pictures, and he's in a lot of pictures before this, so I thought it'd be good to explain why that was. So Kristen, you know there is no such thing as being behind, right? I always tell people that. I think we get wrapped up in the fact that we have to have them, like our December dailies, done in December, and that's not really true. I know some people don't even work on it until January. So you're good. All good. So there's a cute little sticker here that says comfort and joy. Trina, that's awesome. Trina says she's so far behind that she's working on her 2018 album. Again, not behind. For me, this is part of the season, in all seriousness. It's part of my fun for the season. And so, yes, self-imposed pressure. And then the best part about this is when I started doing, I started doing daily videos in 2016 live, maybe last year, the year before. Well, the cool part about doing this, telling you guys I'm going to do a video every day, is I stay current because I have to. So, and I'll tell you, the Wednesdays this year have been cray because I've had very late days, but I'm still keeping up. Like I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning so I could get a video done. So just crazy. So this holiday wishes one I kind of like because this is the gift one. So let's look at that, putting this on. There's also a This Merry Moment, which is cute, but I think this will be. So I'd really ideally like to get it down here. And I think I'm going to make that happen because if I don't, it's going to go over the top of this ornament. And I'll show you that ornament in just a second. I think she's appeared in my DDs before, not with her story. I also have a Christmas album of my favorite ornaments that I probably did, oh gosh, 10 or 15 years ago. So there's a few more now, but okay. So this ornament is a felt Mary, and she's holding baby Jesus. And I made that when I was in preschool. So I don't know if I was 3 or 4 at the time. So that ornament is like, even if I was 4, it's 53 years old. So it's kind of cool that I still have that. It used to hang on my parents' tree, and then when I moved out after college, my mom gave it to me. And I was so excited to have it. Okay, so there is I think kind of like the main pieces here. I'm thinking like an enamel dot. I'm trying to decide what color we're going to do here. Or I have lots of hearts here. That's what I'll do, is I'll do some hearts. Maybe in this little bit lighter green here, because I think it's sweet that these were a gift. Now I'm not putting blue on. There's a lot of blue in this layout, but there's a lot of blue in the lights here. So I think that's going to be good. Okay, so Trina's asking, she's made it to the days where they were in Vegas watching hockey, and she could use some tips for how to limit stories in the album. So I think in a case like that, and I've done that with some of the light things that I know I'm going to come back to. That's awesome, Kristen. January 64 for me, so I'm quickly turning my age. Anyway, so back to that squirrel. So I think in that case, if you have big memories like that, I think what you want to do is pick your favorite photos, depending on, do you want to do like a 2-page spread? So if you're using a pocket page album and you used like these 4 ups, or you could use the 2 4-ups, or if you want a place where you can tell a bigger story, use the 4-up on one side, and then use the one where there's 2 3x4s and a 4x6 so that you have some more journaling room. But don't look at that as the space where the entire story needs to be told. Look at it as hitting the highlights and maybe favorite memories. And so that way you could highlight that, and then go back and do another 12 by 12 layout on it. I've done that many, many times where I just have so many photos that I want to include, and they're important stories. So that's one way to do it. Kristen also just made a good point that you could use 2 by 2 photos. So that's another way. But if you have too many of those stories where you have a lot of photos, you're right, it can really add a ton of bulk to your layout or to your album. And I can show you what I did the other night. So last Saturday we were at a nativity walk, and what I did, here's the map. I'm going to pull this out so you can see what the layout looks like. So this is exactly what I just told you to do now that I see it. So here's the 4 3x4 cards. And then this is the 2 3x4s and a 4x6. But then what I did is I have these Simple Stories photo flips, and they just stick to the photo underneath, and I use 2 of them, so that sitting right here I actually got 5 photos on. If I do too much of this, my album's going to be so bulky I'm not going to be able to, it will never close. My DDs never close though. They always sit on my shelves like this, and then because they're all together they sort of compress, but by the time this is done it's going to sit like this, and that does not bother me. I know it bothers some people. But anyway, that is one way to do that. And you can do this by, what you can do is if you want to, and I think, Kristen, I think you just did this. As a matter of fact, in the video I watched, I haven't done this year, but I've done it in the past, is you can take like a 6x8 piece of paper and fold it in half. And so then the back side would go here, and then the front side would sit outside the pocket. And then that way you have more room for a couple of extra photos. You can do it with your 3x4s as well too. I've done that too. And then you can use washi tape to tape the kind of photos together if you need to do that, if you're using like separate pieces of paper, which I did do in here somewhere. Hold on a second, let me go. Kristen is also saying a bag with extra photos. That's what this is, really. Here's my extra photos from this this night here. So I either use little bags like this, or I have these little lunch bag things from an advent calendar, and then you just lay your bag up against the page protector and punch it. So that's another good way. Let me find that one where I did, I'm pretty sure I did one this year where I taped one out. Here we go. So this is what I was just talking about. So I had 2 photos, but I didn't want to use this to journal. So all I did here is I took, now again, you can do this with a 6x8 piece of paper that's double-sided, or not even double-sided, because you can always add more paper. But I took a 4x6 card and then 2 4x6 pieces of paper. And all I did here was washi tape them together on the inside. So you can do it inside or outside, depending. You can reinforce it on the outside if you want to, but that's all this is doing, is it's just flipping like this back and forth. So that's easy. Yeah, Kristen said you could also cut a page in half if you want 4x6 and don't have the extension pockets. That's a good idea. The other thing I have done too is if you have enough room for your stories, so let's say I wanted to do 3x4s, I could do this where I have a 4x4, and then I also I have just cut off like the outside of this, so then I only have this left. And then you'd have room for 4 more photos because both sides. So that's another way to do that, and maybe not get your album quite as bulky, but also just, I know it's so hard when we have so many photos, and it's okay to scrap photos twice. It's okay for them to appear in your DD and also in your regular album. So hopefully that helps you with lots of ideas. So bags, envelopes. If you don't have bags, that's the other thing you can do, because I've done that before. If you don't have bags, put it in an envelope, and you can do the exact same thing where you punch the holes in, just get a bigger envelope. And then if you want to decorate it with embellishments, or you can add paper to the outside of the envelope. I did that. Where's this? I did it on the back of this bag because I wanted to feature my wrapping paper in here. And I like the back of the bag. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that I wanted the wrap on it. So you can always do that to something like that, and then you decorate around it. So yeah, yes, the 6x8 paper fold is that's a really good one. And if you have 4x6 photos, even if you have a white side to it, because the LE Studios are not double-sided now, the 6x8, if you have 4x6 photos, you're covering it up anyway, or you just cover it up with extra paper. I don't know about you guys, but I have plenty of paper. So hopefully that helps. There's lots of different ways to do it. You can also, if you want, use pockets. You could use just a big piece of paper like this and then punch holes in it and add, photos in that way. And I think by doing what you need to do to add extra photos in, it adds interest to your album because it's something a little bit different. It's not just only page protectors. Now, if you want to just use page protectors in your album, or you don't like photos sticking out, that's your thing, and by all means, definitely don't add things sticking out of the pockets. But I like that because it gives ideas. So great. I'm glad we could help you out there. That's part of why we're here, right? We're the scrappy community together. So I think I'm done for today. This was a relatively simple one because most of the work was done by the 3x4s and that kind of stuff. Yeah, those sacks are cute. And I think they're fairly, like the little penguin sack that I showed you, I think you can buy those like in the gift wrap section if you need to get them. I think the dollar store has them, that kind of stuff. I've used those many times. So, oh, that's an excellent. Kristen just said waterfall flips too, and Laura Albert has a video on it. So yeah, I've seen her do the waterfall flips. So. And like I said, all of that stuff where we're showing you how to add extra pictures is going to bulk your album. Doesn't bother me. If it bothers you, just limit your stories. Use a 4-up 6x8 protector or whatever, and then think about it that this is not the be all and end all. Because if you kind of think about it, this whole month is a snapshot of a day, right? At one day at a time. So that when you look back at it, it prompts memories and that kind of stuff. You don't have to tell every story in this album. I'm not going to. And I think I talked to you guys about, I went to a light show 2 weeks before Thanksgiving because it happened to open up and we got a great deal on it. So we went, and I was going to add it into this album. I don't know if it's going to make it because I have so many things and we saw so many light shows, although I would like it kind of represented. So I might do it after Christmas. The last couple of years I've done bonus days where I've added in things as I went along, just because I had enough stories for each day, and then I just added 3 or 4 things. I always include some of my favorite cards in my December daily too, so you'll see that eventually. But just think about it as this is a snapshot. I'm going to put my... Okay, I'm glad you don't mind. Tarina just said she doesn't mind the bulk in the album, so cool. So then you can use all those ideas. But again, just think about, you don't have to get every photo in there. Find the ones that are most meaningful or tell the most complete part of the story to do it, and then go ahead and scrap it 12x12. So you have that. You could even, if you wanted to, in your December daily album, put a little note that there's a 12x12 layout that that coincides with this, so that you've got that out there too, so that you can go back to it. I don't do that, but if you wanted to, that's a cool way to do it. So all right, you guys, I think we're done for the day. So if you missed it, I talked about this card early on in the video where I made this to sit between these two, and I'll put them in the album so you can see this. That's the separate story about dear boyfriend finding out that he had been exposed to COVID, and it's really not related to the story I wanted to tell. That's more Christmassy for day 21, but it is an important story because all of a sudden he's not going to be in any pictures. And it's not because we broke up, it's just because he's at home, the poor man. So, all right. And I am making us Christmas dinner tomorrow. and I'll run his over once it's done. So we were supposed to go to his mom's and celebrate with his family, which obviously we're not going to do. And so I'm just going to make my piece of it, which was a really hearty appetizer for us for dinner. And then I'll take it over to him, probably with some more cookies. So, okay. So there that is, sitting in the album, just this little piece in between as a separate story. I did date it up here, so I know when it was. And normally, by the way, I would punch these holes even, but I dated it before I remembered that I was going to have to punch the holes in the cards. So I just popped that up, and it's uneven. And again, I like this, like little things like this too, give it's just something different, you know, as I'm flipping through, there's just different things in the album to touch and feel, and because a lot of it's contained in the pockets, but having stuff like this is just fun as you go back and look at your albums. All right, you guys, so Merry Christmas Eve. I will definitely be back tomorrow because I'll have lots of spare time tomorrow that I'm intending to scrapbook and read. So I might do not just my December Daily Live, but I might do a live, actually 12 by 12 too, we'll see. So Jennifer just says she doesn't mind a bulky albums, and she doesn't mind if she has to use 2 albums. And yeah, that's right. The Simple Stories albums all have a 2.5-inch spine, so it gives you lots of room. And that's what, so this is not a Simple Stories album, just so you guys know. This is an Echo Park album, but it's the same thing as the Simple Story one, is it's got the bigger spine so that you can actually get your stories in there. It's not the little ones that it used to be. I measured it when I first got it. Yeah, this is a 2-inch spine, so maybe it's not quite as big as the Simple Stories ones, but I thought when I looked at it, it was the same size as the Simple Story albums. I compared it to see, but this is a 2-inch binder here. So anyway, I've used both of them. If my album has to sit on the shelf like this, I'm okay with it. I've never used 2, but yeah, if you have to, you have to, right? The important thing is to get the stories documented. So you guys, again, you know, squirrel. Merry Christmas to you as well, Janet. So Eve, and I will see you all tomorrow. And thanks for hanging out with me this morning. Bye, everybody.